This is your weekly trip to paradise, Louisiana style, with Gary Risponi. Paradise, Louisiana is also brought to you by Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change, CCA Louisiana, and the CCA Louisiana Star Tournament, IMCO, and by Farm Bureau Insurance.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. Welcome back to Spear Bait and Tackle here on Segan Lane. We got a short fishing report, and I got some other reports from you. We're gonna visit Chaz again, because I mean all the captains right now in that area, Slidell, Mystico, any talking about Lake Bourne, Lake Pontchartrain, all those captains right now are catching fish. They're not catching any monsters, but they limiting out on trout. So we're gonna have a pretty good fishing report and a news report, and I'm trying not to bring any bad news. So you're watching Paradise, Louisiana, some Spear Bait and Tackle. We'll be right back.
For the thirsty, for those who hang out in packs, for heroes, for sidekicks, for those who see the glass half empty, for those who see it half full, for those on the right, for those on the left, for those with nicknames, for those with curves, for people that cycle, for people that recycle, for BFFs, for frenemies, for those with style, for lovers, for families, for big families, for everyone.
I've been asking him to change the oil for months now, and he never did. So I finally just went to Benny's. They even washed my car for free. Uh-huh. And you know what? It was amazing. Yeah, I left Benny's and got home before Rob even knew I was gone.
Benny? Who the heck is Benny?
As members of a Touchstone Energy Cooperative, we've all got a job to do. And the more we work together, the more we save. That's the power of your co-op membership.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Hey, welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. Welcome back to Spear Bait and Tackle. You know, I got a few news reports, but I got to give a shout out. You know, a lot of these people right now, a lot of these landings are talking about coming back for Christmas, but most of them are talking about, well, I'm talking about Lafitte, and I'm talking about Grand Isle and some of those Fushan. They talking about trying to be ready for Easter holidays. But knowing how hard they work, I bet you can expect them. Now, it's the first time I got somebody from Tofield Bourgeois' place in Lafitte. The whole bottom of the lodge is gutted. I mean, you saw on the news that they had the worst flood they had in years. And I was been there right after Katrina, right after all the other storms. Tofield would always work. He had everything done in just in a matter of weeks, but it's not that way. Also, like I said, in Grand Isle, Bridgeside's the one I'm telling them, they jumping and going. The Grand Isle Marina, they didn't have that much damage, but they all come back, but they still not ready to bring everybody back on the island. They shooting for, and their Thanksgiving is real quick, but I heard some rumors about Thanksgiving, but most of them, everybody's telling me about in Easter. Another thing I know is I made a visit. I can do every year to the Comit chapter CCA banquet, and they holding these banquets, but you wouldn't believe the crowd, they're getting back. And now, not only is CCA holding their banquets, they got a lot of CCA members that are out there. Mike McMullen and them have been at Dulac feeding the people. I've talked to numerous of those people that are going and feeding the workers and just feeding the people in general in Dulac. I'm all talking about when they cooking fish, they cooking duck breast, they cooking everything over there. Some of them are wild beast feast, but they got chicken halves, chicken quarters. They've been feeding it. John Bernard did the same thing at Dulac. Here's the picture I have of Mike McMullen and them with their crew from CCA over there cooking in Dulac. So and it's going on all over Louisiana. That's what makes me proud. We're so resilient, and that's what they're doing. Another thing in the news I want to mention, Joe Macalusa's column, he was telling you they had all the seasons, upcoming seasons, the landings that are closed, the wildlife management is closed. You know, I don't have enough time to read you on that with a 30-minute show, but if you got information, you send it to Joe at jmacalusa@theadvocate.com, and you just check their column. Go there on their website, and they always got the news in there. The Louisiana Sportsman Magazine, the same thing. If you want a source of news, and then the wildlife and fisheries, go to their website, and they tell you all about the seasons, what's coming on, what landings are closed, what wildlife managements are closed. So a lot of that's been in the paper right now. It's really important that you check it out. Now, any more news I got right now? I'm looking. I got a fishing report. Lions and Lunkers, they had 23 teams again. That was not this weekend, but last weekend. They got the report in a little late, but they had the second of their fall and winter series. They were fishing in the East Pearl River. Look at these weights. You know, Brandon Kraft and Jason Lee had 15.52 and Big Fish at 4.59. Second was Phil and Morgan Chute, 15.36. Just a few hundreds of an ounces from being first. Third was Steve Hadley and I can't even read it. Crumley, they had 15.05, and fourth was Jay Breland and Timmy Dickens at 11.45. So their next tournament is Sunday, October 31st. When we come back, I'm gonna have a short and sweet fishing report.
For the thirsty, for those who hang out in packs, for heroes, for sidekicks, for those who see the glass half empty, for those who see it half full, for those on the right, for those on the left, for those with nicknames, for those with curves, for people that cycle, for people that recycle, for BFFs, for frenemies, for those with style, for lovers, for families, for big families, for everyone.
As members of a Touchstone Energy Cooperative, we've all got a job to do. And the more we work together, the more we save. That's the power of your co-op membership.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
We put faith in our vehicles to connect us. We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
Seth got the waves.
Jimmy on a beat, boy.
acrobatic fish. The fish came 3 feet out the water. Whew. This is what we're doing today, guys. Had a couple of things happen this week. Number one, Hurricane Ida devastated most of our coast. We spared the worst of it, thank goodness, and I really feel bad for the people that took that thing on the chin. Now our fishery over here is pretty funky out in the lake. We had about a 7 or 8 foot storm surge. Had a call from a good friend Chris of mine, started catching some fish back in the residential canals. So I went and checked my light and saw trout all over the light the other night. You know, when we get these hurricanes, it just brings in these trout like this. It's still hot, still warm. It's a little cool this morning, got a little windbreaker on, but this storm really pushed the fish into, you know, way back in places they typically aren't really this time of year. The water this is the best water I've seen around here, as we had so much rainfall. The whole Pontchartrain area is pretty funky. But yeah, the other night we were just, went out there, tied on our new little matrix shrimp, because that's what was jumping out the water, was little bitty, like 70, 80 count shrimp. Tied that on, was catching trout one after the other. I mean, just had a really good time. It showed me that here they come, they're coming in, got pushed in with the storm, come back to these dead end pockets, some little shorelines. Usually this has got a lot of good aquatic vegetation on these shorelines here, but that storm killed a lot of that grass, and I'm throwing that lure real tight to the bank and just bouncing it off the drop-offs. Let's see if we can get a few more. Yes, there he is. That fish looked like it hit me deep, but I was getting bites the whole way in. He started nibbling on it and chasing it up close to the bank, and I finally hooked him under the boat. Let's get a measurement on him. I think he's gonna be short. He's close. 11 and a half. Let this little turkey go. But yeah, I'm throwing the tiger bait right now. This little pocket I'm in is a little stained. I really like the tiger bait in stained water. We're gonna find some clean sections back here too. These neighborhood canals usually stay gin clear, but that storm was just ferocious. The big surge, it dropped 10 to 15 inches of rain. 10 to 15 inches of rain in our estuary. So it's gonna take a minute for everything to stabilize. A lot of the rivers are back up high, and they naturally have to dump out into the lake. Ran around the lake the other day. Tried to south into the trestle just to see. Caught a redfish down there, but for the most part the lake was terrible as far as the quality of water went. Another nice fish. I think this one will make the team. Got a nice little pile of fish right there in this corner. Oh, I'm on the stick. Yep. It's good. Not by much. All right, that's what we're using right here, the tiger bait matrix and the 3-inch size. The mega's the 4-inch. So now, that's a couple fish there, tore up that tiger bait. We're gonna put a new one on. I'm just gonna show you how to thread it. Some people get a little confused with this, but the hook's gonna come out the flat part. This is the belly, the pointed part on the bottom. I like to thread it a little bit higher than dead in the middle, a little bit closer to the top. Going about a 1/2 to 3/4 inch. It's gonna pop out That hook's gonna pop right out the flat part, just like that. The reason I like to go higher is if you tear it up, you still got some meat down in the bottom part of the head, and you can reinsert the hook, get a few more fish out of it. That's typical for September too. Oh, you know what? It's close. But September, this is a type of size trout we usually are attacking here the last 5 or 10 years. Which is funny, because back when I was growing up, we caught some monsters back in September. You know, the third biggest trout in the history of Louisiana came from this estuary in September. 11 and a quarter pounder. But this is what we catch nowadays in September. Lots of school trout, perfect eating size. He actually just makes it. I'm gonna go ahead and put him in the, well, we're gonna fry some of these things up. You know, we had to evacuate for the storm. Hadn't had seafood in a while. All right, what we're using here is a new item that we're gonna be carrying at matrixshed.com, made by Fitzgerald Fishing. It's the VLD 10. It's really low profile. You know, we've been using Corrados our whole life, which are good little reels. Been having some problems with them breaking a lot lately, which, you know, all reels break, but they're real expensive. This is a little bit cheaper price point, low profile, just like we like, and the most important thing, it comes in an 8-to-1 gear ratio. That way when you hit a fish, you can speed up on him and catch up on your slack in case the fish is running at you, or after you jig the lure, one little turn, revolution on the reel, it'll pick up that slack, get you ready for the next series at pop. They cast real nice, just a really nice product here. Come on in here, buddy. Come on in here, buddy. That's what makes that 8-to-1 important. You know, catching these little fish ain't real serious, but you saw that way that fish shook its head. He came immediately to the top, shook his head, was tail walking in. When it's a big one, you want to keep pressure on that fish. And if you got a slow gear ratio, you might not be able to catch up and pick up with the slack when that fish is running at you or coming up, throwing slack at you by shaking his head. When you got that fast gear ratio like these Fitzgeralds do here, you can really keep up with it. The 8-to-1. It's a keeper. Dang. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. But whoa. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We might change some areas and make another episode today, but we just wanted to get the point across that Hurricane Ida has come and gone. It left devastation across a lot of South Louisiana, but even those areas that really got hit, when them guys can get to fish again, it's gonna be epic. That's what happens when hurricanes come. It destroys your land and houses, but it does something incredible to the water and the fishery. We were pretty far away from the eye here, and it's already pushing our trout up into residential canals like this here. Make sure to subscribe to our Matrix bait box. We're going to be giving out a discount coupon code for this reel to all subscribers. We're going to be also giving out some Tiger Bait Matrix, so you can come out here and get on some trout like this. And we may be giving out some more of our little Matrix shrimp, which is what was working when we were catching the trout on the lights 2 nights ago, after the hurricane brought in some white shrimp and some small school trout fishing nighttime. Great little nighttime bait, and it's good for a lot of other things. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Dockside TV, guys, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Come get in on the fishing as soon as you get your house back in order, and until next time, good fishing.
This is Don Dubuque asking you to join me as a member of the Coastal Conservation Association. For 30 years, CCA has worked in Louisiana to conserve our incredible fisheries, making sure that our fishing is great today and for generations to come. Whether looking out for redfish and specks, eliminating gill nets, building reefs across the coast, or work at the state capitol and in D.C., CCA is doing what's best for the fish and the sport we love so much. Your $30 membership will ensure that this work and our great fishing endures well into the future. Go to ccalouisiana.com and join CCA today.
I've been asking him to change the oil for months now, and he never did. So I finally just went to Benny's. They even washed my car for free. Uh-huh. And you know what? It was amazing. Yeah, I left Benny's and got home before Rob even knew I was gone.
Benny? Who the heck is Benny?
Welcome back to Superior Bait and Tackle and the Berkeley Abu Garcia Fishing Report. Now, I'm going to start off with a little freshwater now. I was getting letters and people calling me, and friends have been going to Toledo Bend. The weather's getting cooler. It's a great trip. You know, all your marinas over there, they survived the storm. Everything is good right now. Sackley are moving up a Lehman and a little shallow right now, and I'm getting some report. Early morning here in the topwater baits, in the flats and in where they can find any grass in Housing Bay and stuff like that. They're catching some bass at Toledo Bend. I talked to Brendan Dubrock, which you saw him on the show the other day. They've been cleaning up and getting ready for the season. A few of his boats have been going out and catching sacklay. He's another one, said they're getting ready to turn on. Unbelievable whether you want to fish them. You know, fishing in canals is just hardlining fishing or spider rigging. So they're all catching fish. Freshwater right now, the hottest place is the Chafalot Spillway. And the Lake Verret area has been a little bit muddy for the rain, but they're still catching fish. They're catching some big sacklay. Now the sacklay in the spillway are small, but they're schooling and they're big enough to keep and big enough to fillet. But they're not those monsters they're catching. Old River, when you catch one over there, you know, here J.B. Salters tell you last week that Blaine said, you know, they're some of them 14 inches. You know, that's a big sacklay or a big crappie, yellow perch. Let me tell you another thing that I was getting reports from is the oxbows, okay? Now, you got news right now, False River was doing great, catching catfish, but they're drawing the river down. I talked to my cousin the other day. He had been catching bass. He said, slow down. He don't know if it shocked them or what, but they're not catching the fish they were catching at False River. As soon as I hear anything different, I got brothers, cousins, everybody who are fishing False River. They're not doing it. Also, another lake they're drawing down is Henderson Lake. The one thing you got to worry about they might be congregated in one or two little spots, but that low water, you got to watch where you're running. And if they do have, you do get in a canal that has the Asian carp, you better have your helmet on. So it gets a little rough over there. So freshwater, that's it. Now, the combination, Venice, down in Venice right now, that river's falling in the canes. They're going to start catching bass right now, but they're catching speckled trout already. And everywhere you hear about right now, I'm talking about in Lake Pontchartrain, Mystico, there's shrimp everywhere. I just talked to Mark here. He's cleaning up over there where his camp is in Hopedale. He said the shrimp are that big. Now, the trout are small. You're going to have a lot of throwbacks, but you're going to limit out. You're going to bring you some food home. And that's what's coming from everywhere. My captains in fishing Lake Bourne, out to Point, Island Marina, their captains are doing the same thing, and they are catching other fish. Exactly. I ain't get a bass report yet because the shrimp are running everywhere. They catch them off the dock throwing casts. So that is the fish report. I told you I was going to be short. I'm not getting anything. I got a few reports from Big Lake, and the same thing over there. They run in the lake and they seeing shrimp and birds. They hunting birds, especially right now. Hopedale, Delacroix, and them. The birds gonna put you right on the fish. Remind me before I get off. My good friend, rest his soul, Mike Rabelais. I fished with him a bunch of times, and he had his own show. The funniest thing we ever heard, they were chasing birds at Grand Isle. They had a lady in there who just said, Mike, you taught us a lot, but says, he said, how do fish know where the birds are? So not the other way around. He said, how do fish know where the birds are? It's where the birds know where the fish are. That's it. That's the fishing report this week. Thank God for Louisiana. Thank God. Don't forget, if you can, help those people that are recovering any way you do it, especially if one of the landings that you work, call them. Say, can I give you a day? You're getting ready for hunting season. You go put a day in at your camp. You're working on your deer plots, whatever you're doing. But don't forget those people you fish with every year. Talk at you later. This is Paradise, Louisiana from Superior Bait and Tackle. We'll be back next week, good Lord willing.
Paradise, Louisiana is also brought to you by Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change, CCA Louisiana, and the CCA Louisiana Star Tournament, IMCO, and by Farm Bureau Insurance.